Yard drive by Pitt. Obviously helped by the roughing the kicker penalty, but that really has to hurt Florida State.
They get the big break from the turnover. They get all the way down to Pitt's 1 foot line, almost to the 1 foot line. They weren't able to get to the 1 foot line, and that's why Pitt gets the ball back. Now Pitt drives on them and scores. You got to give Dan Marino a lot of credit on that play because he was in trouble, ran out, and just was quick enough to see his receiver open, and a great run by DeBartolo.
Here's the extra point try, and it is good. And Snuffy Everett, 15 out of 16 now on extra points, gives Pitt a 7-0 lead with 27 seconds to play in the first quarter.
Countdown to cure.
2-yard touchdown pass, Marino's 14th of the year, and that's in 3+ games. Schubert approaches, gets up, another boomer. Allen 8 yards deep, he'll stay there. And once again, Florida State will start at their own 20-yard line. Marino with his 14th touchdown pass of the year, and again, although this is the Panthers' 5th game of the year, he has only played in 3 previously, and this one today. He did not play last week at all against West Virginia.
And he got off to a slow start against Illinois. First game of the season, he had a bad first half, and he came back and had a real good second half. And today, in the press kit that we get for every game, there was a nice little brochure on Dan Marino, and they're pushing him for All-American and Heisman.
First down and 10. Florida State at their own 20. Give inside to Whiting. He's going nowhere. Again, that quick hitter to the left side, smelled out by the Pitt defense. No go there. Second down and 10 yards to go.
Of course, it's much tougher now for Florida State because it's tough enough playing against a defense like Pitt's, but when you're playing against them and you're behind, and now you got to do some things maybe that you don't want to do.
Sal Sunseri for Pitt in on that tackle. And once again, Florida State comes to the line, but they will have to wait till the second quarter. Time has run out in the first 15 minutes of play. And the score at the end of the first quarter, the Pitt Panthers 7, the Florida State Seminoles nothing.
And Pitt has the lead 7-0. We're getting ready to start the second quarter, and this is a big series for Florida State. They are on their own 20, and they got 2nd and 10, so they want to get it out of there. If Pitt gets the ball back and scores again, you're going to be in real big trouble if you're down more than 7 in this Pitt defense, Dan.
Second down and 10 yards to go. Stockstill to throw. Fires in the flat, incomplete. Pass intended for Ricky Williams, well overthrown. Rich Cranack, the linebacker, who has a couple interceptions this year, made the coverage on the play. It'll be third down and 10. And things holding pretty much true to form. Florida State only been able to rush for 25 yards, 39 passing, 64 total. And of course, Pitt, with that 99-yard drive, leads them, almost doubling them in total yardage game thus far. Third down and 10 yards to go. And Stockstill does not like to throw deep. He likes to pick at you, but he's got 10 yards to go here. Man in motion to the right is tight end Mowat. Stockstill with time, fires. It is intercepted by Pitt. 15. Sunseri to the 5, in for the touchdown. Sal Sunseri, Pitt linebacker, intercepts the pass, runs it all the way back for the touchdown, and Pitt begins to take command.
They call Sal Sunseri the defensive leader on this team. Actually, he's the leader on this team. If there is one guy that you can pick out, he's a senior linebacker. He played on the #1 defense last year, and he came into this season saying he wanted to prove that this defense, made up of a lot of nobodies, as he called them, could also play a little defense. And that is a great play, and he read it perfectly. It was right there. It was not a well-thrown ball either by Stockstill, obviously.
Pass was intended for tailback Ricky Williams. Williams was again circling in out of the backfield, but Stockstill either never saw Sunseri or just threw the ball away.
And that is really going to hurt Florida State. It gets Pitt fired up for one thing, and it's got to make Florida State wonder what they got to do to move the ball. They haven't been able to run the ball with any consistency, and now their #1 game is the short pass. They haven't been able to do that either.
Florida State is not a quick striking team. They can take it 75, 80 yards on you. They like their punter to get in field position so they don't have to drive that far. Now being 14-0, perhaps Florida State will have to elongate those pass patterns just a bit. They're already 14 points down against the #1 ranked defense in the country. This is not the hole that Bobby Bowden wanted to get himself in.
And when you think about how this game has turned since about the middle of the first quarter, when Florida State was on the 1-foot line or close to it and didn't score.
Now watch for number 44, Williams. There he comes in out, but Sinceri just comes in. He was playing his zone, just waiting for that pass to come over the middle, and nobody came near him. Stockstill had a shot there, but not before Sinceri got it into the end zone. There he is, Sal Sinceri, a senior out of Pittsburgh, 6 feet tall, 220 pounds, and the defensive leader. Ever with a kick, it is good. And so Pitt, early in the second quarter, has taken now a 14-0 lead. 14:46 to play in the first half. And the score now, Pitt 14, Florida State nothing. Schubert to kick off once again for Pitt. Let's see if the other end of the field prevents him from kicking in the end zone. He has kicked it twice deep into the end zone. No opportunity for a run back by Greg Allen, who's averaging 16 yards per return. The Pitt defense, rated tops in the country last year statistically, lost 9 seniors last year. Only 2 seniors playing this year. The other 9 are underclassmen. They are once again ranked number 1. Schubert's kick not quite as deep, only 5 yards deep, and Allen's going to come out of there after some hesitation. Tries to get the outside, and he does. Out to the 20, hit out of bounds near the 30-yard line, called the 29, and Florida State will take over at their own 29-yard line. Mistakes are always critical in football game. Pitt has made a couple, but it has not cost them any points. Florida State has made 2, an interception and a roughing the kicking penalty. It has cost them 2 touchdowns. Coming into the game, Pitt was +3 in turnovers, Florida State -1, so both doing a pretty good job. They'll mark it at the 27-yard line. Florida State with a football. Pitch to Williams. Hit at the line of scrimmage and falls forward for a yard out to the 28-yard line. Williams now with 12 yards rushing. His running mate, Mike Whiting, with a total of 13.
Well, Pitt again stopping the quick pitch that time. The quick pitch was working a little bit earlier for Florida State, and it hasn't the last few times they've tried it. And now it's 2nd and long again.
Surprising Florida State has gotten away from those quick hitters, which were so effective early in the first quarter. Receivers split either side, pro set backfield, 2nd down and 9. There's a Statue of Liberty to Whiting, got some room to the 30, keeps on his feet, gets out to the 32-yard line and close to the 33. On a gain of 5 yards, they'll bring up 3rd down and 4. There's a bit of deception here.
Ground level. Looks like a rollout pass, and he just kind of dumps it off here to Whiting. Whiting's their power back. He picks up a couple of yards, but J.C. Pelusi comes up to make the play.
3rd down, long, 4 yards to go. J.C. Pelusi comes out of the football game. Pitt has been going to nickelback situations, dropping the middle guard and adding a nickelback.
Everybody in the stadium's looking for a pass now.
3rd down, long 4, high backfield. Slight roll. Stockstill over the middle of the pass was tipped into the backfield. Good rush once again by Chris Dolman, who's playing a whale of a football game. The freshman defensive end tipped the ball. Stockstill's pass never had an opportunity, and Florida State will be forced to punt once again.
It's just unbelievable what these two guys have been able to do, and somebody who's got to be given a lot of credit here is Foge Fazio, because he's the defensive coordinator. Inside Sports Magazine picked him as the one of the top 5 defensive coordinators in the country. He loses 9 people like that, and you don't even know they're gone. They look better this year, if that's possible, defensively than they did last year.
Here's Stark to punt. He gets off a high kick down to Flynn at the 16-yard line. Returns to the right, looks for the wall. Not much of one there. Gets it across the 25 and out to the 26-yard line. Well, Pitt will take over, 1st down and 10. Rodriguez came in to make the tackle for the Seminoles. In case you're joining us late, Pitt leads the football game 14-0. A big football game. There are scouts from the Orange, Sugar, Cotton, Fiesta, and Tangerine Bowls watching this game this afternoon.
Remember, Pitt's schedule is very much easier from here on in after this game up until November 28th when they play Penn State.
DiBartola got a hole across the 20 and out to the 23-yard line. Kind of a delayed draw like Florida State uses. He takes it up for a 6-yard gain. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Eric Riley, free safety, came up to make the tackle for Florida State.
And now with the 14-0 lead, Pitt can fool around a little bit. They don't have all the pressure on them. They can try what they want to try, and they get a big hole there for DiBartola and a nice pickup.
He is the leading rusher, fifth-year senior. Feta and Borys clearing the hole, the offensive line. Delay to Thomas, not this time. Hit at the line of scrimmage and drop for perhaps a loss of a yard. Make that Joe McCall now in a tailback, number 34. No gain. Make it third down, 4 yards to go for the first.
Joe McCall was the starting tailback when the season started and was the guy that Jackie Sherrill talked about from before summer camp, that he was looking forward to having him as a starting tailback this year, looking for a lot of good things from him, but he just hasn't done any of the things that Jackie Sherrill was hoping he would do, and that's why Brian Thomas seems like he's beating him out.
Marino play fake. Got a rush on, fires over the flat, caught by McCall at the 30 and down to the 31-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down for Pitt. Tommy Young, inside linebacker, made the stop, but not before they pick up 8 yards and a first down.
Similar to the touchdown where Marino had too much time back there. He doesn't see anybody open. Obviously, the secondary is doing a good job of coverage, but if you let him stay back there that long, he's eventually going to find somebody. He finds Joe McCall there and gets himself a first down.
The Florida State linebackers take very deep drops, opening that stuff up, and now we've got movement on the offensive line. Left tackle Jimbo Cover, number 75. You saw him raise up. That'll cost Pitt 5 back to the 26-yard line to make it first down and 15.
At the risk of overdoing, referring to last year's game with Florida State, but it was a game that cost Pitt the national championship, and that's why they have a little bit of revenge on their minds here. Last year, the game was played down in Tallahassee, and Pitt had a lot of trouble with that right there because of the hostile crowd. He doesn't have that problem today, obviously, but he's still having a problem with the offensive line moving a couple of times.
Draw play. Give inside to the tailback, and he gets a couple. Wayne DiBartola, the fullback, with a 3-yard gain. He's second down and 12. Pitt's gone to a bit of that delay type thing. Dan Marino, by the way, with his completions this afternoon, now has more pass completions than any quarterback in Pitt history. He just passed that up with a completion to Joe McCall. He is only a junior, leading pass completer, if that's the right term, of all time at the University of Pittsburgh. Second and 12. Floats one out to John Brown, almost intercepted. Pass intended for tight end John Brown, floated it out there. Harvey Clayton, who already has an interception here this afternoon, could not quite get to it. Incomplete, third down and 12.
I don't think there's anybody who even questions whether or not Danny Marino is questions whether he is the best quarterback in the history of this school. He is. There's no doubt. He's the best that's ever played here.
Third down and 12. Pitt at their own 27-yard line. 10:33 to play. First half. Pitt leads 14-0. Blitz on from the linebackers. He's firing the bomb deep for Collins. He's open. Overthrown at the Florida State 34-yard line. He had Harvey Clayton beaten. Collins wide open on the play. Pass just a bit too tall. That'll bring up fourth down. And again, Dave Hepler comes on to punt for Pitt. The last time he went on to punt, he was roughed in the end zone after getting off a short punt, but the roughing the kicker gave Pitt new life, and they went on to march 99 yards. Cedric Jones back deep for Florida State, averaging just 2.9, and again, Florida State now drops a man off. They got 9 men on the line of scrimmage. Kick is a beauty. Hepler driving Jones back to the 24-yard line. Looks for a break, doesn't find one, hit and drop at the 28-yard line. Great punt by Dave Hepler. And good coverage by the Pitt Panthers. Lowry in to make the tackle. Jones tried to make that move. So, 10:16 to play in the first half. The score, Pitt 14, the Seminoles nothing. Stockstill is 4 out of 9 thus far, and he has had the interception, which gave Pitt a touchdown. Now they try to move the football. Stockstill again, play fake, takes a very deep drop, fires over the middle, and it is almost intercepted once again by Sal Sinceri. Again, Stockstill had a man open on the play, John, but he did not rifle it. He had his man open on a hook pattern, but Sinceri had an opportunity to react.
Sinceri, before the game started, we didn't see it on camera, but as the Pitt team came out on the runway, he was running around waving a towel and jumping up and down and just going out of his mind and looking at the Pitt cheering section and getting the fans pumped up. He was obviously pumped up for this game. He's playing a great game so far.
Second down 10. Florida State just inside their own 28-yard line. They trail 14-0. Pitt shows blitz. Quick handoff inside. There are flags all over the place. And I believe Pitt may have lined up offside. There is no gain on the play. It would be 3rd down and 10. Let's wait for the official's call.
Yeah. Offside Pitt.
Sinceri and Cranack both showing blitz, stepping up. And they just lined up offside, did not get back. So that saves Florida State a down, makes it 2nd down and 5. And it would seem to me, John, that almost every pass that Stockstill throws has been play action. After a while, the linebackers just totally disregard that and go deep drop, which is what happened on the 1st down pass.
So what might work here on a little bit as we go on here might be draws and screens. Pass to the backs coming out.
Which were highly successful in the 1st quarter for Florida State when they moved the football.
You know, Pitt last week played against West Virginia, and they have one of the best scrambling quarterbacks in the country, I think, in Oliver Luck. And they did a good job against him, and they got a lot of experience coming in here to face another guy similar to him.
Man in motion, 2nd down and 5. Here's the gift to Williams. He's got a hole, gets out to the 35-yard line. Here's the 36. He'll be a couple yards shy of the 1st down. He'll make it 3rd down and 2. Pappy Thomas, left cornerback, held his ground, shed a blocker, and made the tackle. So that makes it 3rd down and 2. Florida State at their own 36-yard line.
Nice run by Ricky Williams. He's got some good moves. He got outside, but a good open field tackle there by Thomas, because if he gets outside Thomas there, I don't think there was anybody behind him. Good open field tackle.
20 yards thus far for Williams. Remember, he had 135 last week against Notre Dame. 3rd down and 5, or rather 3rd down and 2, Florida State. Back to throw. Fires over the middle. Caught up at the 45-yard line. And now they rule it incomplete. The pass was thrown to Phil Williams, and they rule it was incomplete. Williams, a senior, not very big, 5'10", 170 pounds. Their leading receiver did not hang on to the football.
Tom Flynn did a good job, gave him a good stick, and that's what did it. He did have him open, but Flynn made up for letting his receiver get open there, but that's his job. He's the free safety. He reacts to the ball, and he did a good job of it there.
That saved Pitt a very important possession. Would have been a big 1st down near midfield. Now Stark will again be forced to kick. Gets off a high floating kick. Flynn under it at his own 17. Looks for the wall, finds one, up the middle, 30, 35, 40. He may go all the way. 40, 20. He's in for a touchdown. Tom Flynn, an 83-yard touchdown run on the punt return.
No flags. No flags. It's a touchdown. We talked about it, Stan, since we opened the broadcast here, but we also talked about before the game that it is possible for a guy to out-kick the coverage, and that's exactly what happened. That ball was so high that this coverage, you can't see it on camera there, but they're already by him. The ball was up there so long, the guys ran right by Flynn. He didn't have anybody to get him. This is the last man to get him right here. And Flynn, after running, about 80 yards, still has enough to give a little spurt right there on the sideline and get in for the touchdown. And Florida State is in big trouble, and Pitt is looking good.
Everett to attempt the extra point. He's 2 for 2 on the afternoon, 16 out of 17 on the year. And one more. 83-yard punt return by Tom Flynn, and Pitt now goes up 21-0. And I think the key to the punt return, John, Flynn made a move to the outside, then cut back up the middle, and it was all over. So, 6 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the half. Pitt now up 21-0. Tom Flynn's 83-yard punt return has given Pitt a 21-0 lead. And of course, I point out that John Steigerwald feels that Julius Dawkins should be back there returning punts.
That's what I said. It's a good thing that he has Tom Flynn back there, because he's the best punt returner they have. That's the point I was trying to make. Schubert to Allen at the 3.
He's going nowhere. He's hit and dropped at the 16-yard line. And if you believe in momentum, it's all on Pitt's side right now.
But seriously, folks, getting back to Flynn and Dawkins, Flynn is the better punt receiver. He's not a better runner, despite what you just saw. Dawkins has better moves and is actually a better punt returner. But you can see Jackie Sherrill's thinking here. When you have a guy like Stark, whose hang time is sometime between 2 weeks and a month, then you got to have a guy back there that you have confidence in that can catch the ball, because that's the first thing you have to do. And then if the coverage runs by you, then you can go with it. That's what Flynn did.
Well, Florida State starts out in the hole. Give inside and going absolutely nowhere as the Pitt defense now really turned it on. Stopped Ricky Williams for no gain at best. Second down and 10. Al Wenglikowski in on the tackle for Pitt in place of Chris Dolman. Really, you couldn't fault Florida State's punt coverage because the first wave was down there, but once Flynn got past there was no one to be found.
There's a thing that a punt coverage team has to do, too, and that is to make sure they don't do that. It's one thing to hustle down there, but running by the guys doing anybody any good.
Got to be under control. Again, the give to Whiting on kind of the Statue of Liberty. He's out to the 17-yard line, gain of a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 8 yards to go for Florida State. And look at Tom Flynn, John, making both ends of that play, because on the 3rd down play, he hit the receiver, made him cough up the ball, which forced Florida State to punt in the first place.
Speaking of Flynn, I think he was in on this play here, too. This is the Statue of Liberty to the other side. They've tried it to the right a couple of times, this time left. And no, Flynn is coming up, but the tackle is not made by Flynn.
Pat McQuaid
in the game.
Number 14 made the initial hit, slowed him down. And if Florida State is not able to pick up a first down here, they will once again punt from deep in their own territory. 3rd down, 8 yards to go. Stockstill straight back. He may scramble. He's got a lot of room. Nope. Now he heads upfield and makes a very poor decision and hesitating. Falls 5 yards shy of the first down. It'll be 4th down and 5 yards to go.
I think what happened, Stan, was that he still had thoughts of throwing the ball on the run, but he looked and saw that he either was over scrimmage or thought it was too close, and he wasn't sure, so he figured he better keep the ball instead of risking a penalty.
Well, Chris Dolman and the Pitt defense having a good time. So is most of the 54,000 here.
Keep in mind, too, Stan, this is supposed to be a rebuilding year for Pitt, and they're working on 5-0.
Stark's leg should be limbered up. There he goes. It's off a high kick. Going to hit the 30 and roll out of bounds at the 27-yard line. So no return possible there. Perhaps Ron Stark does not want to give Tom Flynn the football anymore. Pitt will take the ball over at their own 27-yard line. 6:30 to play in the first half. Pitt on top, 21-0 in what was supposed to be a very competitive football.
Yeah, and when we were down in the press box before the game, I was talking to Bob Smizek, who's a writer for the Pittsburgh Press and follows Pitt. He said he was really looking forward to this game because there have been so many games here where Pitt has just blown out lesser opponents, and he was really looking forward to a good competitive game. And I said, yeah, so am I. And this is as much of a blowout as we've seen here.
Pitch wide of a call. The 30 out to the 35-yard line. That's Brian Thomas. My mistake. Brian Thomas again back in at tailback. It'll be a gain of 8 yards and 2nd down and 2. Jackie Sherrill looking for his 5th win of the year against no defeats. They are ranked 3rd in the country. You kind of wonder here, John, if Pitt will go for the kill. Get up 28-0 at half, and then it's lights out.
It's all over.
DiBartola and Thomas behind Marino, 2nd and 2. Again, Thomas with a big hole. He's out to the 40-yard line. Nice move by Brian Thomas across the line of scrimmage, giving Pitt a first down at their own 40.
Brian Thomas really didn't come into the starting position at tailback until last week against West Virginia. I think that's when he clinched the spot. The way he's running today, it's going to be tough for anybody to take it away from him.
Thomas.
8 carries.
57 yards.
Ain't a bad average, 7 yards.
He had 97 last week. DiBartola, 103. Here's the give inside on the counter. Again to Thomas, and this time Florida State is waiting for it. Nose guard James Gilbert made the initial hit on the play. No gain, 2nd down and 10. Gilbert had very large shoes to fill. Of course, Ron Simmons, the All-American nose guard for Florida State, graduated last year. Gilbert stepped in. They like their nose guards short and kind of stumpy, a la Curly Culp. Gilbert is 6 feet tall, 260 pounds. Guys that short and that strong, it's very difficult to get leverage. A very good matchup with Emil Boris, who is the center and an All-American candidate. Slot to the left, 2nd down and 10. Marino fires over the middle. It is almost intercepted. Wasn't caught. Intercepted by Florida State. And an excellent play made by right defensive end John McLean. Like Pitt, their defensive ends fall back in pass coverage, and McLean stepped in front of the receiver and made the interception.
If Danny Marino has one problem, and I think a lot of strong arm quarterbacks have it, it's thinking as your arm is a little bit stronger than it is, and you try to force it every once in a while. And he may have tried to force that one. It was intercepted. He held on to the ball.
Florida State perhaps getting the break they need. They've got field position. The ball directly at midfield. 2 interceptions against Marino. First down and 10, Florida State. Stockstill stumbles out of the pocket. He's firing deep over the middle. Man open. It is caught down at the 12-yard line. A marvelous catch made by Tony Jackson. And a 38-yard pass completion. Stockstill to Tony Jackson.
Here it is again. You watch Tom Flynn coming across the free safety. He misjudges the ball and hung up there, but he jumps a little bit too early and didn't get it. And a good pass by Stockstill. Blair Williams also is now in is he in the quarterback on that play? Is that Williams that threw that ball?
Yes, he is. Blair Williams, a junior, had thrown 8 passes this year. Pitch wide to Williams. Looks for a hole. Does not find one. Hit at the line of scrimmage and perhaps gets a yard near the 11-yard line. And again, Pitt has successfully, with a defensive adjustment, cut off the Florida State pitch, which ran well early in the game.
It's a pitch to Ricky Williams. They've tried this a lot, and they really haven't had much success with a wide pitch today, and there's why. About 4 Pitt defensive players around the ball.
Good play by middle guard J.C. Pelusi, who strung the play out. That's an important play now with 2nd down and slightly less than 10 yards to go. Ball at the Pitt 12-yard line, and Florida State needs a score. And there you see Rick Stockstill, who has had his problems in this football game, being replaced. And that's rather early to go. And a replacement with a 50-year senior who has been with you for so long, as Stockstill has been with Bowden.
And I'm not so sure that I can see where it's Stockstill's fault, unless it's play selection that probably Bowden didn't like, because the Pitt defense has just been everywhere.
2nd down and 10. Williams. He looks, he throws in the end zone, man open, incomplete. And a good defensive play by Tom Flynn. And we may have interference, and we are. Flag down in the end zone, and that's going to give Florida State a 1st and goal at the 1-yard line. The pass was intended for tight end Sam Childers, and they may get him for face guarding.
Let's see what they do. He does put his hands up with his back to the ball. If there is, well, yeah, that's interference. No question about it. And that's about all Flynn could do. It's actually a smart play. He saw that it was either a touchdown or interference. He went for the interference. Now, Florida State's got 1st and goal at the 1, but that's still, as far as Pitt's concerned, better than a touchdown.
Flynn comes out of the game as Pitt goes with a goal line defense. 1st down and goal at the 1-yard line with the 11-yard penalty on pass interference. Everybody in tight. Give inside to Whiting. Touchdown, Florida State. Michael Whiting, 1-yard touchdown run over left guard, and Florida State gets on the board for the first time with a score.
Now there's a big play on a penalty for Florida State at the 1st down at the goal line, and taking it on one play. Good blocking up front. Whiting just goes straight up. No fooling around this time. And they get the yard this time that they couldn't get on their 1st time down that close in Pitt territory, and now it's 21-6.
Nothing fancy. Straight dive. Rendina, 9 out of 11 on extra points. Kicks. And it is good. So Florida State is on the board late in the 1st half. 3 minutes and 47 seconds left to play. Pitt now on top by a count of 21-7. Tim Lewis returns the kickoff out to the Pitt 22-yard line, where the Panthers will take over 1st down and 10.
Well, it's the first time in a while that the offense has had a little bit of pressure on them to move the ball. It was 21-0. They felt like they could have a good time out there. Now, this is a big series for the Florida State defense, and if the Pitt offense can't move it, Florida State get right back in it.
They give inside to Joe McCall, and he is hit at the 25, but makes a nice run. He gets it out to the 27 for a gain of 5. 2nd down and 5 yards to go. Pitt with the football. 3.5 minutes to play in the first half. Ron Sams, right offensive guard, holding his left hand. Paul Dunn comes into the game to take his place coming out of the game. Now Julius Dawkins comes out, and Kevin Williams goes back in the game. Dawkins, I think, has a torn jersey, and it's illegal to play with those things, so he'll probably only be out for a play. Second down, 5 yards to go. Pitt just inside their own 28-yard line. Bobby Bowden hoping his football team is back in the game. Reno swinging on the flat to DiBartolo. The 30, 35, hit, fumbles the football and rolls out of bounds back at the 32-yard line. Harvey Clayton made the hit and really popped the ball loose. A break for Pitt.
DiBartolo was wide open on this swing pass too. Don't know why, but he stayed in and then released. Reno was going there the whole time, just dumped it out to him. Let's see how they forced the fumble. Just a helmet right in on the ball. Good play there by Clayton. Knock it loose, but Pitt gets a break, goes out of bounds. But they did. I think he had the first down if he doesn't lose the ball. I think he lost a couple of yards on the fumble. He might have had the first down if they have it anyway.
I think he definitely had it. Now they're going to have to measure from where the fumble went out of bounds as to whether they do it or not. They'll either be first and 10 or third down and very short yardage. Once again, a break for Pitt as the ball went out of bounds. Stretching the chains. First down, Pitt.
By the ball. Leaving the ball.
If that ball stays in bounds, Florida State people all around it, and that would have given Florida State excellent position near the Pitt 30-yard line. As it is, Pitt retains possession with a first down at their own 32-yard line. 3:07 to play, first half. Pitt leads 21-7. Pitt leads in first downs 8-5. Collins left, Dawkins right, I backfield, give to the tailback. Out to the 34-yard line, near the 35. Gain of about 3. Joe McCall, the tailback for Pitt. Gain 3, make it second down and 7. Well, last week, when Pitt played West Virginia, Brian Thomas played just about the whole game. This week, Sherrill has gone back to alternating those tailbacks.
And one thing we haven't seen Dan Marino do yet, and we might be getting in a situation where he has to do it here. It's second and 7, but he's not gone to the shotgun yet, and Pitt will do that. He hasn't done it yet today.
Marino play fake, fires over the middle, and it is caught by John Brown, the tight end, to the 40 and out to the 44-yard line, and that'll be good for another Pitt first down. John Brown, junior tight end, with his first reception, his 12th of the year. Scott McLean dropped off in coverage to make the tackle, but it's a gain of 9 and a first down.
Play fake there, and the short stuff out in the flats is working. This time it's the tight end. And they're leaving that area wide open, and I'm sure Pitt's going to take it as long as they're giving it to him, especially in a situation with a big lead. It's a nice, safe play to use.
Well, McLean is 6'4" and 235, so pass coverage, even as a defensive end, obviously is not his forte. Slot left, give to McCall, up to the 45 and across the 45 to the 47. A gain of 3, make it second down and 7 once again as the clock rolls to 1:55.
Another thing Pitt is doing here is keeping the ball away from Florida State. We're down to 1:50 to go in the half. Pitt has the option in the second half of kicking or receiving. You would assume that they take the ball. So if they can hold on here, even if they don't score, it's very much what they want to do. And like the 21-7, I'm sure they'll take going into halftime.
Give to Brian Thomas across the 50 and into Florida State territory at the 49-yard line. That'll be shy of a first down by 3, make it third down and 3. James Harris, cornerback, came up to make the tackle. But a nice gain for Thomas. 4 yards, third down, 3. Clock stops at 1:30 to go. I'm sure Sherrill would like to get 3 on the board here, but again, as you mentioned, John, 21. If you'd have told him before the game started that he would be up 21-7 at the half, he'd have been more than happy with that.
He'd take it. I think he wants to see him do anything here that's going to give up the ball and give Florida State time to do anything.
Delayed draw, and they are not going to get the first down. Florida State read the defense. Wayne DiBartolo stopped at the line of scrimmage, no gain. Well, you got to wonder here, Florida State should use a timeout. The clock runs. Dave Heffler will be back trying to put Florida State into a deep position. Here comes the punt. Cedric Jones takes at his 9, up the middle to the 10, near the 15, and Florida State will take over at their own 14-yard line, but with only 58 seconds remaining in the half.
Well, the offense did their job, although they didn't get any points. They did keep the ball long enough to run the clock down to less than a minute and give their punter a chance to kick the ball into the hole, and they did that. So Florida State starting out with poor field position here, and they've only got 58 seconds, and when they're down 14, what are they going to do now? They don't want to give up another turnover deep in their own territory. Do you run it out, or when you're down 14, do you figure we got to use these 58 seconds to try to get at least 3 out of it?
Well, he's got a field goal kicker that has kicked a 52-yarder, so let's see what he does. Blair Williams, here's a reverse. Cedric Jones, halfback pass, a man wide open at the 50-yard line. It is caught, and he falls down. Phil Williams catches the football at the Pitt 48, but had he not fallen down, that might have been a touchdown.
They still have a lot of time here, 50 seconds, and they're inside Pitt territory at the 48. One assistant coach there on the sideline just in front of where he fell down. It looked like he was going to die when he saw him do it. He couldn't believe it.
Now, he must have been screaming at Williams because Williams got up on his knees and said, "What are you yelling at me for?"
We just gained 40 yards. What do you want?
Well, the pass is good for 38 yards, not as much as it could have been. Florida State, here comes a blitz. Williams is hit. He fumbles and Pitt recovers. Tom Flynn recovers. Sal Sunseri shot the gap. Blair Williams never had a chance. End of scoring opportunity.
That has to tell you something about the count. They must have been reading the cadence so well, because either that or he just made a big gamble, because he just took off and he had no intention of stopping. He took off from 5 yards off the line of scrimmage and went. Maybe Florida State have been telegraphing their cadence, and they picked it up because he just went right after it. Now Pitt's got a scoring opportunity.
And that was an all-out blitz because, as you saw, Tom Flynn, the safety, recovered the fumble. Marino fires out in the flat. DeBartolo wide open. 35, 30, 25, 20, and knocked down at the 18-yard line. Clock will stop on the first down. 35 seconds to go. Harvey Clayton finally made the stop, but again, Marino taking advantage of the deep drop by cornerbacks and linebackers.
Play was wide open again. Now, in a pro situation like that, DeBartolo would have run out of bounds, or at least he would have been expected to, but there he knew he already had the first down. This clock's going to stop anyway. May as well get a couple extra yards out of it. Now the clock starts.
Inside 30. Blitz on. Marino fires wide open. Brown at the 6-yard line. It'll be a first down for Pitt, and now he drops it incomplete.
Florida State might want to fumble on that one. Are they calling it first down now? Well, the official back there called it.
Now they're going to call it an incompletion. Brown had the football, was hit, and he dropped it.
Let's see how long he holds on to. It looked like a possession to me. I think that's a fumble. He looked like, to me, he ran 2 steps with it and then was hit and fumbled the ball. I think Pitt got a break on that one.
Harvey Clayton has played a pretty strong football game here at left corner. Made the tackle, then knocked the ball loose from Brown. So it is 2nd and 10 Pitt at the 18-yard line. 26 seconds to play in the first half. What a turnaround in the last 30 seconds. Again, a blitz on, fire over the middle. It is incomplete and almost intercepted at the 2-yard line. Pass intended for Dwight Collins. Incomplete. Good coverage on the play. Again, Clayton back there. He had help from Tracy Ashley, the strong safety. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 10.
And you see Marino looking to the sidelines trying to get the signal. They use hand signals to send in plays. Sometimes they will send in a player, but he was looking over there to get the call from the bench. 22 seconds left.
3rd down, 10. Pitt at the Florida State 18. Pitt leads 21-7. Again a blitz, firing over the middle. It is incomplete. Almost intercepted. And that'll bring up 4th down and the Pitt field goal unit.
Dan Marino has thrown the ball some dangerous passes. 2 in a row right there. The one to Collins on the play before this he had to throw. It was that type of play. He just dropped back and let it rip and hope that the receiver gets there. But that one was a dangerous pass. He got a break on it. Snuffy Everett going to try a field goal.
This will be a 35-yarder. Everett is 3 out of 6 on the season. Big angle to the left side. Everett is 3 out of 6 in the year. Kick is up. It's long enough.
It hit the upright and bounced back.
Well, Willie Mosconi will tell you about those. Those billiard shots can sometimes be tough. Hits the goal post and bounces back, and Everett, a freshman,
I don't think he's real happy about it.
No.
And who could blame him? Well, there's the angle coming into play here. That's what makes it tougher. He had distance, plenty of distance. Hits the upright, bounces the wrong way for Pitt and the right way for Florida State. And now Florida State has 12 seconds left and about, well, exactly 80 yards to go.
12 seconds to play. Florida State will fall in the football, and that'll take us to the end of the first half. An interesting half in regard that it move back and forth, the ebb and flow of this game. The momentum changed hands several times, but Pitt leads at the end of 30 minutes of play, the end of the first half. The score, Pitt Panthers 21, the Seminoles of Florida State 7. Halftime, Pitt leads Florida State 21-7. Some interesting twists and turns in this game. After a Pitt fumble on a punt, Florida State had the ball 4th and a foot at the 1-yard line, did not make it, and then Pitt went on a 99-yard drive, helped John by roughing the kicker penalty.
We talked a lot coming in here about the kicking game, and that's part of the kicking game is roughing the kicker. And the kicking game has been a big difference in the game. The return by Flynn is the one that really broke it open for Pitt. It's not over by any means yet, but it's gone back and forth quite a bit. I think the difference is that Pitt has taken advantage of it when it's gone their way. They've capitalized on it where Florida State hasn't.
Well, after the 99-yard drive, 22-yard pass, DiBartolo was the touchdown, 7-0. Then Sal Sinceri, the linebacker, intercepted a Stockstill pass, returned it for a touchdown. Pitt on top, 14-0. And then the play that may have broken the game wide open, an 83-yard punt return by Tom Flynn off Ron Stark, perhaps the nation's best.
Yep, and Flynn was a quarterback in high school, so he's a good athlete, an all-state quarterback in high school. Stark is possibly the best punter in the history of the NCAA. He's up there if he's not the best. And this is called running past overrunning the coverage a little bit. You can see all those white jerseys go right by Flynn. He comes right up the middle with it, makes a nice cutback right there. And he shows a lot of speed here on the last man to get him, as he's already gone 60 yards here. The man had an angle on him, but he just gave it a little burst of speed there for the last 15, got it in for a touchdown, and he is the type of guy that you don't expect really to make that kind of a return. He's not a breakaway type player. He's a steady player, the guy you put back there because you think he's going to hold on to the ball. And so it's a little bonus for Jackie Sherrill, where the guy that he wanted back there mainly because it's so tough to field Stark's left-footed punts that are so high and so well kicked, he ends up running it back for a touchdown. And maybe the good kick actually backfired a little bit, and maybe that could be the difference in the game.
Pitt was most afraid of Florida State's punting game, kicking game, and yet it has worked to Pitt's advantage. Florida State got on the board after an interception, a 38-yard completion, pass interference, and a touchdown. That's where we are now. Pitt leading Florida State 21-7. We'll be back with the second half kickoff in a moment. Second half kickoff, Florida State kicking to Pitt with Rendina kicking along the sideline, coming down deep at the 10-yard line. Compton at the 15, out to the 20-yard line. Barry Compton, wide receiver, flanker spot, takes it out to the 20 where Pitt will take over. First down and 10 yards to go. Panthers lead the Seminoles 21-7. There again you see a graphic of the first half statistics, and ironically the difference in the football game thus far has been the rushing edge that Pitt has gotten in the total yardage, 158 to 197. Each team even at 3 turnovers, but as John Steigerwald was mentioning, Pitt has been able to take advantage better of those turnovers and opportunities than have the Florida State Seminoles. First down and 10 yards to go. Pitt at their own 20-yard line. Marino giving off to Wayne DiBartolo, the fullback, hit along the line of scrimmage. He'll get a yard out to the 21-yard line before they whistle it down. Second down, 9 yards to go. Gary Futch, Jarvis Corsi, and outside linebacker Ken Rowe screened that play out on what was an off-tackle play that DiBartolo took outside. Rushing-wise, Whiting and Williams for Florida State each was 17 yards. Brian Thomas, the leading rusher in the game, was 64 yards. DiBartolo has been held down to 9 yards and 5 carries, and he is Pitt's leading rusher. Second and 9 with Marino to throw. Over the middle, it is caught at the 35-yard line and good for a first down by Dwight Collins. Collins making his second reception of the football game. That'll be first down and 10 Pitt. Again, you see that they're using DiBartolo as a safety valve. You saw him swing out, but this time Collins was wide open, hitting the seam between Ashley and Clayton. So first down, 10 yards to go for the Panthers. Their own 35-yard line. They lead 21-7, first possession of the second half. Marino throwing deep, man wide open. Dawkins got it. 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Pittsburgh. Julius Dawkins with his 8th touchdown catch of the year. A 65-yard touchdown bomb. John, it's been there all day with both Dawkins and Collins. This time, Marino was on the money.
And I get the feeling that they've been watching Collins.
Kickoff in a moment. Second half kickoff, Florida State kicking to Pitt with Rendina Kicking along the sideline. Coming down deep at the 10-yard line. Compton at the 15, out to the 20-yard line. Barry Compton, wide receiver, flanker spot, takes it out to the 20 where Pitt will take over. First down and 10 yards to go. Panthers lead the Seminoles 21-7. There again, you see a graphic of the first half statistics, and ironically, the difference in the football game thus far has been the rushing edge that Pitt has gotten in the total yardage, 158 to 197. Each team even had 3 turnovers, but as John Steigerwald was mentioning, Pitt has been able to take advantage better of those turnovers and opportunities than have the Florida State Seminoles. First down and 10 yards to go. Pitt at their own 20-yard line. Marino giving off to Wayne DeBartolo, the fullback, hit along the line of scrimmage. He'll get a yard out to the 21-yard line before they whistle it down. Second down, 9 yards to go. Gary Futch, Jarvis Corsi, and outside linebacker Ken Rowe screened that play out on what was an off-tackle play that DeBartolo took outside. Rushing-wise, Whiting and Williams for Florida State each was 17 yards. Brian Thomas, the leading rusher in the game, was 64 yards. DeBartolo has been held down to 9 yards and 5 carries, and he is Pitt's leading rusher. Second and 9 with Marino to throw. Over the middle, it is caught at the 35-yard line and good for a first down by Dwight Collins. Collins making his second reception of the football game. That'll be first down and 10 Pitt. Again, you see that they're using DeBartolo as a safety valve. You saw him swing out, but this time Collins was wide open, hitting the seam between Ashley and Clayton. So first down, 10 yards to go for the Panthers. Their own 35-yard line. They lead 21-7, first possession of the second half. Marino throwing deep, man wide open. Dawkins got it. 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Pittsburgh. Julius Dawkins with his 8th touchdown catch of the year. A 65-yard touchdown bomb. John, it's been there all day with both Dawkins and Collins. This time, Marino was on the money.
And I get the feeling that they've been watching Collins awfully closely and maybe laying off of Dawkins just a little bit. They may have talked about that at halftime because Collins only had the 1 catch in the first half, but Dawkins just beat his man. He was wide open, and Marino just laid it in there perfectly.
Eric Riley, the man embarrassed on the play, could do little but get a hand on Dawkins to the 5-yard line. Everett with a kick. It is up, and it is good. So Pitt strikes quickly. An 80-yard drive. The key play, a 65-yard touchdown pass from Marino to Dawkins. Marino's second of the game, is 15th of the season. And now, with 14:11 to play in the third quarter, Pitt now leading 28-7. Back deep to accept the kick from Schubert. 4 yards deep in the end zone. Here he comes. 15, 20, out across the 20 near the 22-yard line. Pitt has done a good job on the kickoff return team. And Florida State will now start for their own 22. Well, this is exactly what Bobby Bowden didn't want to happen. 3 yards, 80 plays, bang, and a touchdown, 49-second drive. Bowden figures if he gets the ball, after holding Pitt, even a field goal puts him within 2 scores. Now he's 3 touchdowns behind, and he's going with Blair Williams to get a quarterback. High backfield, first down, 10 yards to go. Play fake. Williams looking deep himself, got a man wide open at the 50-yard line, and is dropped. Out of bounds, Phil Williams, leading receiver on this team, with 9 receptions coming into the football game. Cannot hold on to the football, it'll go incomplete. And one thing we have seen, or have not seen, I should say, Dennis McKinnon has been the leading receiver going into this game with 19 receptions. He's not caught a pass.
And that, you talk about being wide open. Williams was wide open on that play. The ball was underthrown. He never did have a chance. If you thought that he caught it and then dropped it, he didn't. It bounced into his arms, and he still didn't hold on to it. He would have trapped it if he would have held on to it anyway.
Williams came on, leading Florida State to their only touchdown of the game. Here's a blitz. Williams is hit, spins away, hit again, fumbles the football, rolling loose the 15-yard line, and Pitt has recovered the fumble. J.C. Pelusi, the middle guard, recovered the fumble by Blair Williams, who was hit twice. Chris Dolman making the hit, and Pitt now really in the driver's seat.
There it is again. Williams with a big rush by Kranak. That's what started it. He got away and then just simply dropped the ball, and Pelusi was there to pick it up. And this Pitt defense is just unbelievable. They have so much quickness at every position. The linebackers are quick. The defensive ends and the defensive inside men on the line are quick. The tackles, unbelievable.
Pitch wide. Brian Thomas in trouble, hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss back to the 18-yard line, a loss of a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 12 yards to go.
It's hard to compare, Stan, but you saw a lot of the Pitt defense last year. I don't think that the defense last year could possibly be any better than the team that's out there right now. And we've said it a couple of times here, but the amazing thing is that there's, one senior out there, 2 seniors. 2 seniors. Happy Thomas, the cornerback, and Sinceri, one of the linebackers. It's supposed to be a rebuilding year, for the defense especially.
Well, if they're rebuilding, they're using good materials. Draw play, Thomas again hit at the line of scrimmage and gets back to the line of scrimmage for no gain. It'll be 3rd down and 12. James Gilbert reading the play very nicely, sliding along as he's supposed to do, making the tackle on Brian Thomas, making it 3rd down and 12.
Here's the replay. Just a deep handoff, and it just took a little bit too long to develop, and the blocks weren't held long enough, and a good penetration there, and no gain. Thomas comes off and gets a new jersey. They do use the tearaway jerseys here, and some coaches don't like to use them for that reason right there. Sometimes it takes your #1 running back out of the game for a play.
3rd and 12 from the 18. Marino rolling to his left. He fires, and it is caught by John Brown. 5, touchdown! Julius Dawkins. Pass to Julius Dawkins, coming across, open, and Marino bought enough time to find him, and Dawkins with his 2nd touchdown catch of the game, 3rd for Marino, and the game is out of hand.
Okay, when Dan Marino was recruited at Pitt, he was a high school All-American, parade All-American. So was Julius Dawkins. And I don't remember right now who came first, but I think Marino was recruited first. And when they brought Dawkins in, it would have been now 3 years ago, there was all the talk about what a great combination it would turn out to be. And this is really the first year that it has, because this is the first year that Dawkins has been given a chance to play. And there's the extra point by Everett, which is good, and it's now 35-7.
18-yard touchdown pass from Dan Marino to Julius Dawkins. That is Marino's 16th touchdown pass of the season, and that is an all-time single-season Pitt record. And we are only in the 5th game of Pitt season, so he'll top that by a large margin.
And I have a feeling that we haven't seen the last of the scoring in this game, necessarily by either side, but especially by Pitt. And you got to wonder what people around the country are going to think when they see that Pitt has been able to do what they've done so far here after Florida State came into Columbus and beat Ohio State, went into South Bend and beat Notre Dame, and they came in here and they're getting just totally blown out of here.
Well, as we mentioned in the pregame show, Pitt's schedule from here on in really is kind of a piece of a cake. Syracuse, Rutgers, Temple, Army,
Boston College,
and of course the tough game will be Penn State. Penn State undefeated, ranked 1 notch ahead. Many people feel it's entirely possible that both could be undefeated when they meet here at Pitt Stadium on November 28th. And the major bowls may be put into a position of having to make a deal.
Winner goes one way and
loser goes another.
But they could both end up in a major bowl, both Pitt and Penn State.
Entirely possible, although of course Penn State still has Alabama, they still have Notre Dame, and in Miami of Florida, a very tough team. But I don't know that anybody, even the most ardent of Pitt fans, John, would have expected the score to be 35-7 with 12:33 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Unbelievable. And you got to wonder what the bowl scouts are thinking. Even if Pitt should lose a game down the road, it's a good show to watch.
Schubert's kickoff, coming to Allen, 2 yards deep, tries to get outside, flag down, gets out to the 16, but there was a flag on the play, thrown in the middle of the pack, and that may march Florida State back a bit more.
Pitt is just playing with so much enthusiasm, even on the kickoff team, and with a 35-7 lead, they're running down there like maniacs. It's a face mask penalty. It's going to cost Pitt 15.
This will be Florida State's longest game of the 2nd half.
You got to figure that when it was 21-7 at halftime, Bobby Bowden, as you mentioned, had to be in there saying, okay, we got to hold them on that first series. We get a touchdown, we're right back in the game. 3 plays later, it's 28-7, and then all of a sudden it's 35-7. And Florida State, if they don't give up, you got to give them a lot of credit, because most teams would at this point.
Well, Pitt has scored 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes and 32 seconds of the 3rd quarter. Coming right out of the gate. Got movement on the offensive line, but no flag. Left defensive tackle move. Give off on the inside, coming out across the 30 to 34-yard line. Greg Allen, who returned the kickoff, will call it a gain of after the penalty of about 4 yards, 2nd down and 6 yards to go. Bowden's got to kind of tuck in his horns just a bit here to at least get his team calmed down. Obviously, they're shell-shocked. And there may be some eyebrows raised, obviously, by the score, but when they ask the question, is Pitt really that good?
Well, they've been asking it now. This is the 5th week, and I think the answer is yes. Williams
crossing pattern. We're going to have interference, and we should. We won't. It's incomplete. Phil Williams, the intended receiver, wanted interference on Pappy Thomas. He will not get it. That brings up 3rd down and 6.
He still wants it, and he's obviously not going to get it. I think you have to answer that question yes, Dan, because this team came in here proving, Florida State did, that they're a good team. And they won at Columbus, and they won at South Bend. Now, Ohio State and Notre Dame are big names, and maybe they're not the greatest teams that those two schools have had in a long time, but what they've done here is just amazing.
Here's the quarterback giving off to Allen once again, and it's kind of that fake Statue of Liberty, and he's going to be about a half-yard shy of that 1st down. Ken Burnett, the ball carrier on the play, reserve fullback behind Whiting, and he's going to be short. 4th down and a foot. Florida State has had its decision to make before, but I believe they've got to go for it. You're down 28 points.
Yeah, it's out of hand, but they're not going to do it. They're going to punt the ball away. An interesting thing here is that what is Bobby Bowden doing? Is he saying to his starters that they didn't do the job, or is he saying the game's over and we may as well get some of these young guys a chance to play, because he's got new people in there, and he's either given up or decided that he's showing the first team guys that they didn't do the job today.
4th down and a foot. Watch for a fake. They've done that before. Stark gets it away, and it's a driving spiral. Flynn back at his 11-yard line, over his head and into the end zone. And that is a 61-yard kick.
Like nothing, like it was nothing.
Like it was nothing. That was a howitzer, a 61-yard kick by Ron Stark. All that's left for him is to pad his statistics. Pitt will take over gladly at their own 20-yard line. I mean, the one thing that could get Florida State back in the game is a fumbled punt, that sort of thing. They're just happy to let the thing go.
Miracles was going to get them back in the game, because the way Pitt's moving the ball, there's no reason to believe that they're finished scoring yet. And the way college football is set up today, where you got to get votes to decide who's number 1, you can't blame any coach for scoring as many points as he can. If Pitt could get 50 points, that would impress a lot of voters around the country.
A little bit of a hesitation, and Marino throws the bomb again. It is up, and it is incomplete. Intended for Julius Dawkins at the 35-yard line. This time Florida State had the play well covered. Cornerback James Harris, number 33, had the play covered all the way. Incomplete. Pass really did not have a chance to be completed unless Dawkins could out-jump the man for the ball. So it's 2nd down and 10.
It also had a chance to be intercepted, but Dawkins made a good play to come back and prevent the interception.
Well, if you had any question about Pitt sitting on things, no, they're not going to do that. Marino now 11 out of 21, 200 yards. He's thrown for 3 touchdowns. He's been picked off twice. Give to the tailback, Joe McCall. Thomas got room, 45-50. He's hit from behind and dropped at the 35-yard line, and the flag on the play. We may have a face mask against Florida State. Tracy Ashley finally caught Brian Thomas from behind, but not before he picks up yardage down to the Florida State 35.
It's a great move by Thomas. You'll see it. He comes through the line through a big hole, but here's the move right there. He really changed direction and just totally faked out the man who came up to make the play. And there's the face mask penalty, definitely.
Jimbo Covert, a great job of blocking left offensive tackle.
They found themselves a tailback. They thought they found him last week. They know they found him this week.
1st down and 10 yards to go. Pitt now at the Florida State 21-yard line. High backfield. Give inside to DeBartolo. He's got a hole. 15, down to the 10. Fumbles the football. Rolling loose, and I believe Florida State has it. They do.
Well, there was a time when you would think that a fumble in the 3rd quarter would have been a big turnover. It's not now. There it is again.
Alfonso Carricker recovers on the play. DeBartolo had a nice hole in here.
Yep, they're opening the holes up, this time off the right side behind Sams and Freilich, and the ball just pops up. And a scramble for it, and Florida State recovers the ball. Alphonse Carricker. Somebody's hurt.
And we've got a man down on the play. One of the things that Pitt has done so well, and they have ran the ball very well against Florida State, Pitt offensive guards and interior linemen just eating up those linebackers. Those linebackers are playing 4 or 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. The Florida State scheme of things is to keep those offensive people off the linebackers. In the Oklahoma defense, which Pitt uses also, they front five, they have to keep the offensive linemen off the linebackers, but they are not doing that, allowing the guards to get at those linebackers and taking care of them.
Now, Pitt's just done everything they've had to do. Well-balanced offense. They've run the ball well, and Marino has had a good day throwing. There was a lot of question coming in about his arm. He answered that 3 minutes into the game, that was no problem.
Williams in motion. Williams again, the quarterback. Ricky Williams hit in the backfield and dropped at the 3-yard line. Chris Dolman, who has played an excellent football game this afternoon from defensive end, came in, and Pitt now just coming in and making great penetration in the backfield, drops him for a loss all the way back to the 4-yard line.
Just quickness here, 6'6", 260, and he's back there before, almost as he got the handoff to make the play. He read it perfectly, and Florida State's been trying to run wide quite a bit today, and all they've been doing is running into either Dolman or Woods. The ends have been playing well and containing and boxing the ends, and the quickness is just, they haven't been able to overcome it.
Second down, 16 yards to go. Williams again got some room now to the 10, out to the 15 and the 20, 25, hit and dropped outside the 30, near the 31-yard line. So a 17-yard game. However, there is a flag down on the field back at the 5-yard line. Offside, Florida State will come back.
And we've been talking about it. That play there was a quick opener, a delay, and it picked up some good yardage. None of the going wides. That's what they did to Pitt last year against the same type defense that Pitt had, different personnel, but same scheme, I would think. And they haven't done it much today.
And they did it well in the first quarter, and then kind of gotten away. Of course, now you're down 28 points. Here's the give to Williams. Got room again if he gets another block to the 10 and out to the 15-yard line. It'll be a gain of 13 yards, but it still brings up third down and long yardage. Tim Lewis, right cornerback, came up to make the play on Ricky Williams.
Oh, it was again a quick opening play, and the hole opened quickly. And Pitt is so quick that if you take a long time, they're gonna come after you. A lot of people, but this is a play that develops quickly. Just a simple off-tackle play, and it's a good pickup for Williams.
Good play by Tim Lewis, the quarterback, who made the initial hit. 12 carries, 18 yards. Third down, 7 yards to go for the first down. Florida State at their own 14-yard line. Blitz on again. This time they pick it up. Williams now looks over the middle, and it is caught up at the 28-yard line. Good for a first down, and it is caught by Tony Johnson, who makes the reception, and Williams completes it for the first down.
Okay, give the quarterback, Blair Williams, a lot of credit on this one. He's eventually going to be chased out and to the left. They do a good job of picking up the blitz, but he's moving the other way and throwing across the field and gets a lot of zip on the ball. It was a little bit behind the receiver, but he was able to make the play, Tony Johnson, I should say. His
third catch for a heck of an average. Florida State's only been in the end zone once. First down and 10. Florida State at their own 27. Williams with a very deep drop, fires over the middle, man wide open, and is caught at midfield and into Pitt territory by Phil Williams. So Florida State beginning to open up just a bit, picking up that first down, good for 24 yards, and the first at the Pitt 49-yard line, but 7:58 to play, third quarter, Pitt on top, 35-7.
Here it is again, and just running a simple post pattern. He has time, he's looking at him all the way. May have gotten him in man-to-man coverage there. He got behind Michael Woods, who's a stand-up defensive end, but in some cases plays as a linebacker. He may have been isolated on him and got behind him.
He's going to see a kid like Woods, who is not big for defensive end, but still a defensive end that far deep in pass coverage. Williams blitzed and hit and dropped. Coming in was Chris Dolman. Who else? And Williams tried to duck to avoid it. I'm not so sure that Dolman hit him that hard. He just kind of ducked and fell down. And once again, Pitt coming from all angles and all directions. Dolman playing the same type position defensive end that Hugh Green played last year.
No chance here. Fake pitch, quick drop, set up, and that's a quickly developing play. It just shows you how fast Dolman got in there, because he only was back about 2 steps and already Dolman was rushing him and he had no chance.
Loss of 6, second down, 16 yards to go. Blitz on again. Williams throws in a flat, incomplete. Intended for Phil Williams from Blair Williams, incomplete. Coverage on the play, Dan Short. 3rd down, 16 yards to go.
And when the team's up 35-7, as Pitt is, you think, well, so if they score another touchdown, that's okay. I think that the Pitt defense, number one, they are number one in the country. They want to maintain that, so they're very interested in statistics. They don't want to see a yard gain. They're not conceding anything. If they get up 65-7, they won't.
Slot to the right on 3rd down and 16 yards to go. Once again, Pitt blitzes, picks up, fires over the middle. It is intercepted and dropped. And a flag on the play. We may have pass interference. Pass was thrown behind the receiver. Troy Hill, number 22, you see there, had an opportunity for the interception, dropped it, but he may get yellow flagged here. Sam Childers, the tight end, pass interference, and that'll give Florida State a 1st down, the 2nd time in the ball game that they have been called for pass interference.
Let's look at it again, see if we can tell if it was a good call or not. Well, it's hard to see from that angle. It was close coverage, and he must have bumped him on the way in, or maybe put an arm in front there before the ball got there.
Again, Pitt this afternoon going to a great deal of nickelback, and that nickelback is Troy Hill. So with the pass interference penalty, it gives Florida State a 1st down at the Pitt 41-yard line. 35-7, 6:47 to play in the 3rd quarter. Give to Whiting, got some room to the 30, inside the 30 and down to the 27-yard line. Michael Whiting, the fullback, the senior, picks up 12 yards and a 1st down.
He had 71 yards last week against Notre Dame on 15 carries.
Cornerbacks Lewis and Thomas making the play.
And this is just another wide sweep, and this time it works a lot better than it has all day. He gets outside the defensive front 5, and now the linebackers and the cornerbacks come up to make the play. So he picked up probably his biggest gain of the day. I would think that's his longest gain of the day.
Good job blocking by Ricky Williams, who took out linebacker Cranack to pave the way. 1st down and 10 at the 27. Williams to throw. Rush on, hit. He fires over the middle, wide open at the 5-yard line. Once again, it is Phil Williams who makes the reception at the 5. It'll be 1st down and goal. And a good job by Blair Williams, who had thrown only 8 passes this year. Doing a good job. 1st down and goal at the 5.
He's looked very good on this series, and he gets in the little trouble there and steps up and keeps his composure. Throws a bullet over the middle, and Phil Williams did a good job of getting open. So now it's on the 5-yard line, but Blair Williams, the quarterback, as Stan said, was 4 for 8 for the season coming into this game. He's playing against the number 1 defense in the country and had a very good job considering all those factors.
Dave Pizzoli was the man who put the pressure on him. 1st down and goal from the 5. Williams to throw in the end zone. Touchdown to Childers. 5-yard touchdown pass. Blair Williams to Sam Childers. And the Seminoles are on the board. That'll make it 35-13. So a drive by Florida State, aided somewhat by a pass interference call, and they are on the board.
That's another nice play by Blair Williams, and a good call. Childress just coming from tight end on a quick slant. It's very tough play to cover, and a very good call, I think. When you're in that situation, 5 or 6 yards out, there's the extra point.
Rendina with a kick. And so we've got 5 minutes and 47 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. And the score, Pitt 35.
And here's the touchdown. Just a quick slant over the middle, and Childers is wide open.
Now we'll tell you, we'll finish what we started to say anyway. Pitt, 5:41 to play. Pitt leading Florida State 35-14. Rendina will kick off for Florida State. Pitt in a normal kickoff return alignment. No suspect, at least at this time, of an onside kick. Tim Lewis, the deep man, the trip safeties. And Rendina kicks it away. Coming deep into the end zone to Compton. 3 yards deep, he'll come out. Wedge in front to the 20. Gets away from one man, but does not make it to the 20. About the 19-yard line, matching his number, Barry Compton. And Pitt will take over at their own 19. 1st down, 10 yards to go.
Now, it's not over yet. I mean, it is over, but it isn't. It's 35-14. Quick turnover now. Pitt's on the 19, and a quick touchdown by Florida State. You still have almost a quarter and a half left and only a 2-touchdown difference. But I don't think Pitt should get too conservative here, because they can move the ball, I think, when they want to. So there's no reason for them to stop now. Florida State's got to get the turnover.
Here's a give inside to Brian Thomas. Looks for a hole and gets out across the 25-yard line to the 27-yard line. A good trap inside Jarvis Coursey finally made the stop, but Brian Thomas adding up that yardage. He had 107 on that play, picks up 7 more. That'll make it 114.
Thomas is only 5'10", about 185 pounds, but he runs a lot bigger than that, and he gives a good second effort there and gets some extra yardage. He's done that all day. There's his stats, 8 yards a carry. You got to be doing something right.
2nd down and 3. High backfield. And again, it's Thomas hit at the line of scrimmage and is stopped for no gain. Looked like a hole there, but James Gilbert, the nose guard, who has played a good football game today, came in and made the tackle when it looked like Thomas would easily have the first down. That'll be 3rd down and 3.
Here it is. Watch Gilbert close up the hole here. There, he just did a good job of fighting off the block. I think it was Boris, or was it was Paul Dunn. Paul Dunn was on him, and Gilbert fought off the block and made the tackle.
3rd down and 3. Slot to the right side. Tight end John Brown in the slot. Collins flank to the right and Dawkins to the left. So Marino will throw for it on 3rd and 3. Over the middle. It is caught by Brown at the 40, 45, and up to the 47. And it'll be a first down for the Panthers. And John, it seems that on 3rd down, the Panther conversion rate has been excellent, and they've really been able to do whatever they wanted to do when they wanted to do it.
It's a good catch, but watch this throw. Marino is an overhand thrower, but he throws this almost sidearm. 3/4 motion, a little bit stiff. The ball was well thrown and was a hard-thrown ball, and Brown did a good job to hold on to it. Coming across the middle, he was not really all that open. It was a good pass and a good catch.
And again, you've got a defensive end on him, Jarvis Coursey, who drops off. Someone charges offside. It was Gilbert, the nose guard. But once again, you have that defensive end covering a tight end or a back coming out, and Pitt has taken advantage. Marino now 12 out of 22, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's been intercepted twice. Both those, however, came in the first half. Illegal procedure against Paul Dunn, who was in there for the injured Ron Sams. It'll be 1st down and 15 yards to go. So Pitt going on the kind of ball position drive they wanted. They had Pitt 3rd down and 3, and who knows, they score a touchdown before the 3rd quarter's out. It's 35-21 and maybe a ball game. Here comes a reverse. Gifted White Collins. They smell it out. Hit by James Gilbert, who was not fooled for more than a half second, and he drops Collins for a loss way back inside the 35 and down at the 32-yard line. Again, Gilbert making a smart play.
Dwight Collins was a preseason All-American, and they're trying to get him into the game today, and they've had a little problem. He's only caught 2 passes. They've been for big gains. But here it was perfectly read by Gilbert, and a deep reverse going to cost Pitt a lot of yardage.
Scott McLean also in there on Gilbert. So the loss is substantial all the way from the 46 back to the 32, a 14-yard loss. 2nd down and 24 yards to go. 3 wide receivers. Rush on. Marino with a screen. DeBartolo to the 30, 35, 40, and out across the 40 to the 41-yard line. So he got 9 yards on the play. A little more than a third of what he needed. It'll bring up 3rd down. Still long yardage. 15 yards to go. And well, Pitt has not been throwing the ball downfield necessarily. Against South Carolina a couple of weeks ago, Pitt had a 42-7 lead, and then late in the 4th quarter, all of a sudden, it was 42-28.
Yeah, and I think Jackie Sherrill is fairly well aware of that, and he's obviously told his offense that he wants some more points. He's not playing it conservatively and worrying too much about turnovers. He's throwing the ball upfield a little bit.
Another 3rd down, this time 15 yards to go. Pass in the flat, caught at the 45, 46-yard line, but that'll be well shy of that 1st down. Brian Thomas makes the reception. He's got a good day coming out of the backfield, both running and receiving passes, and Pitt will be forced to punt.
That was conservative.
Hepler to punt. Cedric Jones inside his 20. Hepler gets it away. He gets off a skyrocketing punt. Jones takes it at his 8. Doubles back, tries to get outside. Nothing but blue. Loses 2 yards on the return all the way back to the 6-yard line. And while there's been a great deal of hoopla about Ron Stark, and indeed he has not disappointed anybody with his punting, Dave Hepler, perhaps feeling the challenge of punting against the best, gets off a great punt there.
What may have cost Pitt the national championship last year is their punting game. They had a terrible night punting against Florida State last year in Tallahassee. And Hepler is a walk-on. And he's done pretty well in comparison to the guy who they call possibly the greatest punter in college football history, if not the best. He's right up there with Ray Guy and a couple other guys you want to name.
And Tony McNally, who snaps on punts, made the tackle. That's called hustling.
There's great coverage on that punt.
1st down and 10. Williams. Here's the halfback pass again from Allen. Got a man open, and it is incomplete. Almost intercepted, and we've got a flag down on the play. Pappy Thomas almost made the interception. Now the question is, which way does the interference go?
Well, from the immediate reaction, looked like Pitt was thinking it was offensive interference. Look at Pappy Thomas. I don't think he likes the call. I thought that it was interference on Thomas. I saw some shoving, I should say. Maybe I should wait to see the replay. Let's look at it. The halfback pass, and amazingly enough, the receiver is wide open again. It's a nice jump pass here. I don't know. I didn't see any problem there with what Thomas did.
He may have pushed a bit, John, before the ball got there.
You see Tom Flynn pointing right away to the receiver as if to say that, yeah, good call. That was offensive interference. Didn't go that way for Pitt, so Florida State gets out of the hole.
Well, you can tell how much the local fans like the call. First down and 10. Give to Whiting. Gets across the 40-yard line and out to the 41 for a gain of 2. It'll be second down and 8 yards to go. And again, Pitt has strung out the wide plays very nicely. That time, Rich Cranack made the play.
Rich Cranack's played a good game. And linebacker, he comes up and makes the play here. Whiting tries to jump over the top. Cranack stays in there and submarines him.
And again, the difference in play, John, both teams using the same defensive schemes. The Pitt front five has been able to keep the Florida State blockers off the linebackers, and the linebackers in the Oklahoma defense should make 70% of the tackles. Second down and 8 from the 41. Play fake. Williams screen pass. Allen with the reception, but not much room out to the 44-yard line. Gain of 3. It'll still be third down and 6. Cranack again smelling screen coming up, making the tackle.
Somebody smelled screen because there was nobody in there really pressuring the quarterback Williams trying to throw the ball. They had hung back. Looks like they had read that all the way.
55 seconds to play third quarter, and if Florida State could get in the end zone in a relatively short period of time, you might have yourself a football game. Third down and 5, and if Florida State is to have any chance whatsoever, they must convert on third down and 5. Back goes Williams. He's rushed. He's hit. He's dropped back to the 34-yard line. Michael Woods, Dan Short on a safety blitz, number 29, coming in from the strong safety. Once again, the blitzes work well for Pitt, and Ron Stark will be called upon again.
And you have to give some credit to the defensive backfield there because they covered. He did have some time initially to throw, and when you're blitzing a defensive back, cornerback, or safety, whatever, that means you're going to put some pressure on the guys who stay back there to guard against the pass. And obviously nobody was open right away because he ate it. Took a big loss.
Here's Stark. There's a rush on. Ball's high. Flynn takes it at his own 12. Looks for the wall. Gets to the 20. Hit at the 20 and out to the 23-yard line. And that's where Pitt will take over the football as the third quarter comes to an end. So we have played 3 quarters of football here at the University of Pittsburgh. And the score at the end of 3 periods, Pitt 35, Florida State 14. Pitt with the football as we begin the fourth quarter after the punt by Ron Stark. Pitt at their own 23-yard line, and all they really have to do at this point is to hang on to that football. Marino with a gift to DeBartolo, the fullback. It's a good game across the 25 and out near the 30-yard line. Ron Hester, inside linebacker, number 83, making the tackle. He had help from John McClain, defensive end.
That's another thing that Marino has done well. He has mixed up his passing enough where he hasn't been predictable. He's swung it out, he's thrown screens, he's thrown to the tight end, he's used all his receivers.
Second down and 9 yards to go. I backfield. Here's a give to the tailback. Busting across and out to the 30-yard line. Brian Thomas getting some of the penalty yardage back. It'll still bring up third down and 3 yards to go. Today's attendance, John, 55,112, which is just shy of a sellout here at Pitt Stadium, and the largest crowd since 1978 when the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame was here, opening up that 1978 season, which is also the last time that Pitt has lost at home. This will be, if they win today, their 18th consecutive victory at home, their 12th victory in a row overall.
It's the best game in the country this week.
Third down, give to Thomas, looks for a hole, 30, 35, out to the 41-yard line. Flag down, it'll be unnecessary roughness on Florida State. Brian Thomas making a 13-yard gain out of nothing. getting the first down. Pitt will get an additional 15 yards, and that'll move them into Florida State territory. Good run by Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas last week emerged as the tailback, and every time he carries the ball, he keeps solidifying his position, it seems to me, as the tailback for this team. He has great second effort, and that's exactly what Jackie Sherrill's been looking for, somebody to go with DeBartola. He knew he had the power back in DeBartola for the short yardage stuff. He knew he had the receivers. He knew he had the quarterback and the offensive line. The big question was the tailback, and that question has been answered in the last couple of weeks by Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas now over 125 yards on the afternoon. This has got to be his personal best of all time. First down and 10 Pitt. The ball at the 43-yard line of Florida State. Marino with a play fake. He's rushed. He escapes the first rush, fires to DeBartola, escapes a tackler, looks for a block, fumbles the football, rolling loose, and I believe Florida State has recovered the football. Wayne DeBartola with his second fumble of the afternoon after he'd done a good job eluding tacklers will give Florida State the football. Now, John, we talked about turnovers, but at least this one is deep down in Florida State territory.
Yeah, and DeBartola's had trouble holding on to the ball today. He's caught a few of these passes. Marino does a good job again of stepping up out of the pocket and avoiding the rush. He's done that about 3 times, and all 3 times they've been to DeBartola, and twice on those 3 plays he's fumbled the ball, but maybe he's not used to being so wide open on being out in open field. He's used to running in traffic.
Tommy Young was the man who stripped him of the football, causing him to drop it. And now Florida State with the football at their own 28-yard line. High backfield. Williams, fake draw, rush on again by Woods, scrambles out of the pocket, hit and drop. Bill Maas came in from right defensive tackle, dropped him for the sack, all the way back at the 18-yard line for a 10-yard loss. Does a good job eluding Michael Woods, but Maas got the penetration.
Well, if it's not one guy, it's another, and when you got penetration by everybody, eventually, if one guy's chasing him, another guy's going to run into him, and they got a flag on Woods for, or is it Dolman?
Dolman.
For roughing the passer, or unnecessary roughness, either one. It's 15 yards.
And he was down on the ground, and even though he didn't hit him that hard, that is what you call unnecessary roughness. So Florida State, with a 10-yard loss and a sack, turns it into a first down with a penalty at the 34-yard line.
Florida State has, although it's just about out of hand now, they've gotten a lot of breaks on penalties and turnovers and just haven't been able to take advantage of it.
Pitch back to the tailback, but not this time, as the Pitt defense upset by the call. Ricky Williams is hit and dropped for a yard loss by Phil Pizzoli, coming from left defensive tackle.
Bill Moss coming out of the game there. Moss is another one. He's only a sophomore, 6'4", 259 pounds. And as well as this defense is playing this year, how good are they going to be next year?
Second down and 6, even though there was a loss. The 15-yard penalty, John, was a dead ball foul, so it applies to the initial series. Here's a delayed draw to Whiting. Gets it out to the 35, 36-yard line. That'll bring up third down and 3, but again, Florida State is down here, 35-14. 12 minutes to play in a football game. You got to be throwing it up.
I think they got to go for it. No matter who your punter is, you got to keep the ball. Now we're down to 11 minutes and 56 seconds to go in the game, and I would think that Florida State is going to go for it. He's staying in.
So it is third down, 2 yards to go.
Bobby Bowden wants a timeout.
And he doesn't like what's going on here. I think he wants to make sure. The yard marker, John, says fourth down. The scoreboard says third, and I believe it is third down because, again, the dead ball foul brought it up. Now let's see what happens. That's what Bowden called timeout for. He wants to know, hey, is it third down or fourth down? I think you've got to go for it either way, but he wants to make sure. Scoreboard, third down and 2, as you see there. But again, the down marker on the sideline, as I mentioned earlier, does say fourth. Bowden saw the down marker. He thought it was third. And apparently it is fourth because they're sending the punting unit out of the game.
And that's interesting. It is fourth down, and it's interesting that he's not going for it. I guess he's got to figure that if he punts it deep, maybe he can get a Pitt deep in their hole and make them punt out, and he won't lose that much time and score a quick touchdown. He's still got some time left, but to the point now when you're down by 3 touchdowns, you got to go for something.
Well, you have to wonder about the play calls also on that series. Only time he passes on first down when he got sacked on the play. Here's the snap to Stark. He gets off a high kick. Flynn calls for fair catch at his own 18-yard line. That's where he'll take it, about the 19. So Flynn handles the punt flawlessly. And with 11:34 to play in the football game, Pitt again will take it on offense. And you really do have to question not only the play calls in that particular series, but also on 4th and 2. The major thing is, probably the worst thing for Florida State was Bowden even seeing that it was 4th down. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Timeout on the field. Pitt leads Florida State 35-14. Half yard. We'll call it 2nd down and 9 yards to go. Thomas, the leading rusher in this football game.
Thomas ran into his blocker there, Bill Freilich, who was knocked back.
Next week, Pitt will host Syracuse, while Florida State continues its Oktoberfest, and it's been a successful one for them. They lost to Nebraska, but came back to beat Ohio State and Notre Dame on the road. This one on the road. Looks like they'll lose to Pitt next week. They finally end the road trip. They play at LSU in Baton Rouge, and then they come home after being on the road for 49 days. 2nd down, 9 to go. Marino, play fake, looking to throw. Fires over the middle. It is almost intercepted. Pass almost intercepted by James Harris, number 33, and he may have had a touchdown had he been able to hang on to the football.
Marino's got a great arm and a strong arm, and he's obviously not having any problems with his shoulder today. He threw that ball hard, but it's another case of a forced pass, I think. That's a ball either he had plenty of time, and Florida State was doing a good job of covering the receivers, and he should have just thrown that one away. He almost gave up a touchdown he wouldn't have to give up. He doesn't have to. Right now, he can throw the ball up into row L with a 35-14 lead and not worry about it.
Good stats of the day from Marino. Blitz is on from the outside. Marino fires deep, way downfield. A little bit of bumping going on. Almost intercepted by Harvey Clayton. Pass intended for Dwight Collins. Now the Pitt fans want interference. I don't think it existed. But in any event, the deep bomb is incomplete. That brings up 4th down and 9 yards to go.
Now that's the man that he likes to throw to when he goes deep. But Dwight Collins is a state sprinting champion. He's also an all-state basketball player. And ball was just overthrown. I think they just ruled it was incidental bumping.
Cedric Jones takes the punt. And I'll tell you what, the officials, if they're on the ball, should call Pitt for 12 men on the field because Dwight Collins did not get off the field in time. They snapped the ball very quickly. Collins was still at the hash mark when the ball was snapped. But they don't call anything. They probably just didn't see it. It should have been called for that. Jones returns the football, and Florida State is in good position. Their own 49 near the 50-yard line. 1st down and 10. Well, maybe that's what Bobby Bowden had in mind. He only lost 1 minute and 50 seconds on the clock and gets the ball in better field position. But again, they are 3 touchdowns away from tying the game. Williams out in the flat. Pass is complete, but for a 2-yard gain. Not much doing there. Pass complete to tailback Ricky Williams. 2-yard gain. Cranack, number 55, the linebacker, on the tackle. Will be 2nd down and 8 yards to go.
Here it is again. What Pitt wants to do is keep the score as one-sided as they can. Winning it is one thing, but you got to impress the people who vote. There's Cranack coming up to make the play. Pitt 35-21 is not going to. People who saw the game are going to know that maybe Pitt dominated the game a little bit more than that, but somebody in Dubuque, Iowa, voting for the top 10 teams in the country may not be aware of that.
Williams snowed under again. Again, Pitt coming on a safety blitz with Dan Short, and they are just firing linebackers, and they are firing safeties. And of course, with the game semi out of hand, Stockstill is a guy who probably can read that a bit better than Blair Williams.
Well, Blair Williams getting a good little workout today. He's going to be around next year, and this is some good experience for him because he's playing against the best defense in the country. And Williams has done a good job, too. I think we should give him some credit. Rick Stockstill, who would have thought that Stockstill would have been out of the game in the 2nd quarter?
3rd down and about 17 yards to go. Once again, the rush is on. Here's a screen in the middle. The Childers wide open. 50, 45, down to the 40, and down to the Pitt 39-yard line. Middle screen to the tight end. Ray Leo finally brought him down, but this time Williams read the blitz coming and found the tight end in the middle screen.
They got some backup people in there, too, and when you're getting the kind of pressure that Pitt has been putting on, then the thing you do is try to come back with a screen, and he is wide open as he catches the pass, and it's a good call. Although now it's getting late, 8:53 to go, 35-14, Pitt leading. It's all over except for the final score, you would think, and Pitt solidified their position as the number 3 team in the country.
1st down, 10 yards to go. Florida State inside the Pitt 40-yard line. Here's a pitch wide to Williams. Got some blocking. 35, 30, and down to the 27-yard line. Ricky Williams with a 12-yard gain and a first down for Florida State. Troy Hill in at cornerback to make the tackle. So the Seminoles moving the ball a bit, but again, not much time left to go in the football game. 8:25, and the clock is rolling. Pitt on top by a score of 35-14. And those people out in Dubuque, Iowa, can turn on the USA Network and see what happened in this football game if Florida State should make it close. 12-yard gain for Williams, first down and 10. 37 yards for Williams, but again, remember, 135 against Notre Dame. Here's that reverse coming once again. Cedric Jones with the football, waits for a block, and is hit hard at the 25, but gets forward to the 22, and a good bit of running by Cedric Jones. Rich Cranack came up and put a real lick on him, but he managed to survive that and get forward for 5 more, make it second down and 5 yards to go. They've used this play on several occasions, and Jones obviously has the option whether he would like to run or pass. He took a look, saw that he had a run, and coming up, Cranack, Troy Hill, but a 5-yard gain. Second down and 5 yards to go. Clock running now, 7.5 to play. Pitch wide, Ricky Williams looks for a block, tries to get outside, gets to the 21-yard line. Stop for a gain of 1, it'll be third down. Pat McQuaid coming up as Jackie Sherrill begins to insert some second-team defensive members. Primarily, it is still the first unit in there. It'll be third down, 4 yards to go for Florida State. First down. Pitt really put this game away early in the third quarter. They scored 2 touchdowns in the first 2.5 minutes of the third quarter after taking a 21-7 lead at the half. But they came out a 65-yard touchdown pass to Dawkins, made it 28-7. A recovered fumble and another touchdown pass. Marino's third made it 28-7. And from that timeout, it's been pretty much all Pitt. Here's the give inside to the 20-yard line to Ricky Williams. He'll be shy of that first down, and it'll be fourth down and 3. And quite obviously, Florida State must go for the touchdown, the first down. Field goal does them no good whatsoever. Running out of the pro set backfield. Just a quick inside handoff, straight dive, and a good job by Michael Woods, who made initial contact before he got to the line of scrimmage. And Williams now with 41 yards on 15 carries. Fourth down and 3, perhaps the last hurrah for Florida State if they are to get on the board. Fourth down, 3 yards to go. Williams firing on the flat to Whiting. Got room, 20, down to the 16-yard line and very close to the first down. He's got it. It'll be a gain of 5 yards and a first down for Florida State at the Pitt 16-yard line. So Florida State maintains possession of the football with 6 minutes to play in the football game. Plays being run in by the wide receivers. Phil Williams, who has had a good day this afternoon. He's a senior. Came into the football game with 9 catches for a good average of 19.3. He did catch 1 pass for 38 yards. Blair Williams coming in relief in the second quarter of starter Rick Stockstill, 7 out of 12. Play fake. He's firing deep in the corner of the end zone, and it is intercepted at the 5-yard line. Great play by Tim Lewis. They were looking to hit the tight end. Double coverage on the play. Lewis saw it all the way. Playing center field back there. Came across to pick it off. Watch it again. Williams thought he had a man open. Had time. Looking in the corner for what could have been a touchdown for Childers, but a great play by Lewis, who read it all the way. Pass intended for tight end Childers. Lewis with the interception, and Pitt takes over first and goal, or first down and 10 at their own 5-yard line. First interception today. Pitt in the eye. Marino still in there at quarterback. Brian Thomas looking for the whole right side. Gets out to the 10, and a nice gain on first down. Gets out of bounds. Stops the clock, which he didn't necessarily want to do, but he'll take that 5 yards. 5:32 to play in the football game. Harris knocking him out of bounds. There you see Tim Lewis, who made the interception. Junior, 6 feet, 190 pounds. And again, one of those Pitt players who had talent last year, but was playing behind some of the people who really stocked the NFL draft. Pitt had 12 players taken in the NFL draft last year, to give you an idea of what kind of football team they had last year. Their only loss coming to Florida State. Pitch wide once again to Thomas. Got some room. First down. 20, 25. He needs a block. Gets outside. 35. Out to the 40. Across midfield. The 45, the 30, and down to the 25-yard line. of Florida State. Brian Thomas reeling off a run all the way from his 11-yard line, and they spot the ball at the Florida State 26. 53-yard run by Brian Thomas. He's pushing 200 yards. Needed the block on the outside. He got it. Now uses Julius Dawkins as his blocker. Hits the midfield stripe, and it's a race down the sideline. They had the angle on him. Cuts back in beautifully. That gives him another 10 yards. And now 165 yards for Brian Thomas. And what a day he has had. DeBartolo, the fullback, hit at the line of scrimmage, gets inside the 25 to the 24, gain of a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8 yards to go. Dan Marino with 3 touchdown passes this afternoon may have to take a back seat and star of the game to Brian Thomas with 165 yards rushing. Making 185, a recalculation. So he is near that 200-yard mark. 185 yards, and 121 of those yards have come here in the second half. He had 60-plus in the first 30 minutes of football. 2nd down and 8 Pitt at the Florida State 24-yard line. Joe McCall, big hole up the middle. Inside the 20 and down to the 17-yard line. So Pitt beginning to chew him up. Well, I suppose it depends upon who your mathematician may be, but now we're told that Thomas has 200 yards on 20 carries. 10 yards per carry. You take half that. So there is a timeout on the field. 3:19 to play in the football game. Pitt well in control as they lead Florida State 35-14. Pitt gunning for another national championship. Their last one 5 years ago with Tony Dorsett and company. 4th down, a foot to go at the 16-yard line. Give to Thomas. He's got the first down inside the 15 and near the 14-yard line. So Brian Thomas dives over left tackle for the first down. That'll give him 202 yards in 21 carries. Hurt his average a bit, but at this juncture, who cares? 3:15 to play. Pitt will win its 5th. Florida State's record will drop to 4-2. Florida State not out of the woods yet, however, and certainly not out of the bowl picture either. They have a chance to make it up. What was Southern Mississippi, LSU, and Miami of Florida still on their schedule. 1st down and 10, Pitt at the 14-yard line. Brian Thomas, he's to the 10, he's to the 5, and near a first down inside the 5-yard line. Close to that 4. Another 10 yards for Brian Thomas, gives him 211. Jarvis Corson makes the tackle. Gain of 9, 2nd down, 1 yard to go for the first down, 5.5 for the touchdown. Clock rolling, 2.5 minutes to play in this football game. Bobby Bowden, in the middle of his Oktoberfest, will go home. Not really a bad job with a split, losing at Nebraska and Pitt, winning at Ohio State and Notre Dame. 2nd down 1, Thomas again, hit at the 5, touchdown Pitt. Brian Thomas going wild. 5-yard touchdown run. Pitt is on the board again, making it 41-14 with the conversion attempt coming up next. What an afternoon for that young man who played hardly at all in the first 3 games of the year. Last week against West Virginia, had 2 touchdowns, scoring both Pitt touchdowns, and rushing for 97 yards. And as he emerged as a star, hit at the 5, breaks loose, good block up front, thrown by Jim Sweeney, the right guard. Kick by Everett is good, and Pitt now finishes it off with a 42-14 lead, 2:14 to play. So 2:14 to play. Pitt remains undefeated. We'll be back. Pitt 42, Florida State 14.
Set Special C and anchor detail.
Right, standard runner.
Right standard runner, aye.
Port of call, Hong Kong.
Sir, combat hold skunk
The
down.
Navy. Over 75% of our jobs give you technical training. Get one.
Let go of the anchor.
Liberty call now, Liberty call.
Speak to your recruiter or call this toll-free number. Navy. It's not just a job. It's an adventure.
Schubert, who may have to have his leg packed in ice, will kick off once again for Pitt. Greg Allen back deep to receive the kick. A winding kick down to the 2-yard line. Lewis Allen fumbles the football, picks it up, gets to the 10. They'll get out to the 14-yard line. That's it. That may have symbolized Florida State's efforts here this afternoon. Taking a look at Brian Thomas's touchdown. It's just good hard running. Gets a good block from Sweeney, number 53, pulling on the play. DeBartola seals off. There you see the block by DeBartola, 31. Sweeney's 53. Thomas eludes one tackle, gets to the outside, and he's in for the touchdown. His second of the afternoon, rushing for nearly 210 yards. So first down 10, Florida State at their own 14, 2:08 to play in the football game. At this point, it's not how or who, but rather by how much. Give inside, a big run to the outside for Florida State. Picking up the football was Don Davis. It'll be a gain across the 20 and out to the 23-yard line. Second down and 1 yard to go. Pitt has held Florida State to just 59 yards net rushing, and that falls in line with their #1 ranking again. Pitt had given up only 14 yards net rushing in the first 4 games of the season. Williams to Billy Allen. He gets across the 25, out across the 30, and for a first down near the 32-yard line. Be good for a Florida State first down. Billy Allen is a rather interesting story. He's a freshman, but he was in the Air Force. Bobby Bowden recruited him in London, England. He was in the Air Force playing football over there, and he's 22 years old and a freshman. Has not played because he has had some fumbleitis, but he's in there now. Second down. Williams throws, and it is complete up at the 45-yard line and out to the 48-yard line to Tony Johnson. That'll be good for another Florida State first down at their own 48. Clock stops, of course, in the first down with 1:09 to play in the football game, but the issue has indeed been decided with Pitt leading 42-14. That will raise some eyebrows around the country. Hard to say there's a key play in a football game when it's 42-14, but Florida State, with the first opportunity to score, 4th down and a foot at the 1-yard line, they did not make it. Pitt then went on a 99-yard drive, aided on a roughing the kicker penalty. Third down, little flat pass to Billy Allen at 50, down to the Pitt 47. It'll be a gain of 5 and bring up 4th down and 5. So it's 4th down and 5 now, and Williams will throw. Here comes the Pitt rush. He fires over the middle, and it is caught at the 37-yard line by Phil Williams. That'll be good for a first down. It'll also stop the clock now with 17 seconds to play. They'll start it again as soon as the yard markers are placed correctly. 42-14. Pitt on top as Florida State hopes to salvage something by getting it in the end zone one more time. Here's Williams, blitzed, he's hit, he fires and thrown, it's intercepted. And all the way back to near the 40-yard line is middle guard, or rather defensive end Johnson. Williams trying to make something out of absolutely nothing. Is hit again. Pitt blitzing on the play. Al Wenglikowski coming in on the blitz. Johnson makes the interception. He was surprised to get the football at the 39-yard line. 3 seconds to play in the football game, and Pitt will run one play, and it'll be lights out on Florida State, at least for this Saturday afternoon. Power eye to the left. Dan Daniels, reserve quarterback, takes the football and falls down, and Pitt has won its 5th straight. Florida State will go home 4-2. Bobby Bowden shaking hands with Dan Marino at the middle of the field. Pappy Thomas in there as Bowden looks for Jackie Sherrill being carried off in one of the biggest games at Pitt Stadium in recent years for the University of Pittsburgh. Oh,